Thank you for joining us today. We will be talking about how to accelerate lead flow with Google Ads when thinking about your marketing specifically for paid search, PPC. This is one of the best and most efficient ways to increase your lead flow and get the biggest return on your investment. So let's kind of dive right in here and see where we go. What will be covered in today's meeting? First off, why paid marketing is the key to unlimited scalability in terms of lead flow for your plumbing, HVAC, and roofing and home service businesses. Second, the paid marketing strategies that are working best in today's market. I know we all have marketing budgets, but if there's any area to really focus your marketing budget on, the areas you want to focus those areas that are going to bring you the best return on your investment, the most money you can get from it. Next, we're going to break down some live live examples of some paid marketing campaigns and campaigns that have generated 5 to 10 times their return on investment in the home services market. Fourth point would be how to set up and structure your pay-per-click marketing campaign for the minimal cost per lead and maximum ROI. So basically, we want to make sure you can set up Google Ads and reduce your cost per lead. And then finally, let me see, get myself out of the way here. It'll be best up here in this top corner. Finally, we'll be tracking KPIs, tracking landing pages, campaign structures, all the things you want to be thinking about if you're spending money or if you're going to be spending money on paid strategy. So who am I and why should you listen? So first off, I'm the author of the Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Home Service Contractors and how to double or even quadruple sales by cracking the digital marketing code. I've spoken at many industry events across the United States, widely accepted as one of the industry experts, and I've been an associate member of the PFC, QSC, and the ACCA. So, yes. So this is what we do. We double and quadruple sales. That's one of the core principles of our company. We like to focus in increasing leads on how to generate better results. And we want to maximize those conversions and optimize those results. Those are some of the 3 core principles that we use with the digital marketing services. If you would like to learn a bit more about what's going on, you could check our website. It's thedigitalmarketing.com/contact. And for some of you who are on today, who are clients, we appreciate you plugging in and getting more in tune with the paid search process and how we can help you even further. If you're not a client and you're interested in chatting with us, we can definitely help, and we love the opportunity to be able to connect. You can schedule a time for free by going to digitalmarketing.com/connect or just digitalmarketing.com and check out the website on your own. So we're going to jump into the accelerated growth model. And when we look at the accelerated growth model, there are 3 core principles that we're going to need to increase our lead flow. The first being drive leads. We have to have strategies to get the phones ringing, to get new inquiries, and to get leads into the business. The second thing we need to do is maximize conversions. If we're driving leads, but we're not converting the traffic into calls, and those calls into booked jobs, and those booked jobs into converted revenue generating opportunities, then any marketing strategy that you have in place just isn't going to work, and we won't get the growth that we're really after. You won't see the ROI really paying off. And then finally, we're going to look at optimizing results. You need to have tracking in place to be able to figure out what's working best and what's not. Where are you spending, every single dollar that's being accounted for, and how do you actually accelerate the growth? So you have to be able to track that information if you want to be able to answer some of these questions. So the first one we're going to look at is organic. When driving leads, the 3 channels that we like to use, first being organic, we like to make sure that we're coming up in the non-paid listings and the non-paid directories. If we're looking at some search engine optimization, you see this is the on-page stuff. We want to make sure that we have pages for each services in each of the main cities, optimizing the titles, the H1 titles, URLs, images, meta tags, everything that goes along with that. And then you want to make sure that you have unique content for all pages. That's something that I've seen a lot of when I'm looking through a lot of plumbing, HVAC, roofing websites. I do see times where people just copy paste their homepage, the information that sounds good there, and then they just switch it up for every other page that's needed. So that is something that actually could negatively affect you on your Google ranking. And Google might actually flag that because they don't like to see a lot of duplicate content. So having unique content for each page is actually crucial in today's market. And then if we're looking at the Google My Business page, those are some things where you want to have those claims and optimize. You got to get some listings at like Yext, Cloud Dream, and some of the other data aggressors. And then you want to make sure that you're having ongoing content. So, like having a blog set up, you're sending out newsletters, something where you have new content to be sent out every week. So that way your website isn't really getting stagnant. And then the second channel we like to get into, specifically for driving leads, is paid search. And paid search really just breaks down to Google Ads, Facebook ads, and any of the paid strategies that we really will bring up today in today's webinar. So I like to follow this process. This process follows a logical order. We build the strongest foundations in the best ways. If you don't have a proper foundation, if it's not in place, then you know sometimes when you skip ahead to these next levels, paid search, local service ads, some of these paid directories, or even social media ads, you're not really going to get the results that you're looking for because if you try to start from the top and then work your way down, your foundation's just going to crumble. So you might as well just be throwing your hard-earned cash directly into the garbage can. We start with the foundation at the bottom and build our way up. And don't worry, we'll go more in depth into this. This is just something I'm bringing at the beginning. We're going to reference this a little bit later on. And then finally, the third portion of our driving leads is the database, which is when you're looking at your existing client base, your past prospects that didn't quite convert, and you're trying to figure out how to communicate with them, primarily like via email, maybe via text message or via phone, so that way you can drive as many new opportunities as possible. That's how we really drive those leads. Now, when we look at maximize conversions, there are three main components that matter for maximizing conversions as well. The first would be your website, making sure your website is built to convert, has the right conversation elements in place, having online booking, chat, and making sure the website is converting at least 25 to 30% from visitor to lead. So, move my little box here. Basically, this is the 12 critical elements to enhance conversion. Uh, there's a lot of things here. I'm not necessarily going to go through them all, but these are really crucial aspects. So, you got to be able to speak to your target audience. You got to use real, authentic images. I see a lot of websites where you have stock images off of Google, off of Canva, or any other site that has this stock images, and it just doesn't feel genuine. And that that same concept goes into your customers. Your customers know what's genuine, not. And when you see someone, hey, this is my business, this is my trucks, these are my employees, or even family members. I know there's a lot of family businesses out there. This is me and my sons working in our HVAC business. That really locks in a foothold with your customers. And then using video, I know there's multiple studies on how videos help boost all that conversion elements from taking place. You really want to have videos or any type of multimedia elements to further engage, your customers, because seeing plain text can, you know, just get boring. Standing out of the crowd with a video can make a big difference. And then Yelp reviews. I definitely see Yelp reviews on almost every website that I'm looking at, but for some reason they're at the very bottom. I think that those reviews on almost every page I've ever looked at, they need to be bumped up. Once they go up, you got your main page, you should have some of your basic information, and then right below that, you should be showcasing some of those reviews, especially the 5-star reviews. You have something linked in through, Yelp or any of the Google review system into your website. That is exactly what you're going to need. And if you don't have that set up, there are great tools to be using, like Bird's Eye or Review Buzz. And then there are some basic, concepts that just are universal to all home services, and it's just the way that Google's algorithms set up. I like to call it the nap theory. and that stands for name, address, and phone number. You have to have your name, address, and phone number consistent not only on your website, but throughout each directory and each listings. So if you have one piece of information where your business was in another location, you moved, and you haven't updated that everywhere on the internet, Google's algorithm is going to search everywhere it can. And if it finds anything related to your business and the name, address, or phone number isn't the same, you're going to be dinged points and you're going to see yourself dropping and ranking down that Google board. So that's just, like I said, those are the basics. That's something you really want to make sure that you're doing. And you definitely want to have web forms. That's just something where if your customers come to your website and they don't have a web form to contact you in, you're not going to get any conversions that way. You're going to lose customers pretty fast. And then, like I said, having some credibility, sources like BBB, Angie's List, some yellow pages. There's a lot of authority symbols out there that you can use to show. And this is another thing. Anytime I have seen them on someone's website, it's been all the way at the bottom. So getting past that, we want to make sure we also ensure that you have clear calls to action on each page. So you want to tell your customer exactly what to do next in each section. Hey, we have great prices. We're some of the best plumbing places around. Come check us out. Hey, schedule a session with us so we can explain more about this and really dive into those issues. Um, then we want to make sure that you're using special offers, anything that could really catch someone's eye. It's going to be beneficial. This is left to some creative types out there. I have a few ideas that I've used with my clients that have worked really well. But even if you're just doing this on your own, there's great ideas that you can use to stand out from the crowd. I know that shouldn't be said. It doesn't really need to be said in today's market, but mobile websites, they definitely need to be optimized. I've seen a lot of times where I look at someone's website on a desktop and then I go to their mobile site and just things aren't working the way they should. It's not converted to be a mobile website, which is saddening because in today's market, I think the studies have shown it's at least 92% of customers are actually using their phones to contact any of the home services business. So if you don't have your mobile site set up, again, that's another way you're really just bleeding customers. And then you want to leverage some live chat. You want to start, giving clients the option to book online, and then you want to engage them in different channels. You want to be able to get to them via phone, via SMS, via email, via any social media. In any market that's able to communicate with your customer, you want to be able to leverage that to your advantage and use that to speak to the customers and speak to the people who are really calling out for those services. And then I know I skipped one, the site speed. That's something that is matter. If your website takes 30 minutes to load up, people are going to sit there as opposed to your competition. If you just click on a page, it goes instantly. No problems there. If you notice that your website's taking a little slower, you might want to look into why that is and work on getting that remedied because it's really not that hard and it makes a huge impact for your customers. Whew. So going into our next topic for maximizing conversions is your reputation. Your reputation has a big impact on your conversions, and the amount of reviews you have and what your customers are saying about you on those public sites like Google's reviews, Angie's List, Thumbtack, and any other online directories where someone might be looking. If we have an amazing traffic strategy and our website is converting, but we have bad reputation with a lot of like negative reviews, that's going to negatively impact our conversion rates. Or if we don't have enough reviews, that's another thing that's really going to negatively impact the way that our reputation is shown online. And that's not just personally, it's according to Google's algorithm as well. And number three is automation. In today's market, if we're not leveraging automation to follow up with our leads via phone, text message, or email, we're missing out on massive opportunities. If we're not putting automation sequences to follow up with unconverted opportunities, then you're just letting potential clients slip through the cracks. And in these kind of markets, any kind of customer slipping through the crack is going to make huge financial impacts. So we're looking at optimizing results, and one of the first things we want to look to on optimizing results, especially after we're looking for driving leads, maximizing conversions, now optimizing results, basically is like how much are we going to spend to hit the results that we're looking for? And if you're speaking to any other marketers, this is something that I would love for you to be able to ask them. What is the spending goals, and what are the actual results that we're going to see from that? Those are great questions to be asking. Then after that, we're going to figure out the average cost per lead and be able to put a metric on that. Knowing the dollar amount and being able to see that lowered is a great way to not only reduce costs but maximize your ROI. And then ultimately, we're going to figure out what generates the best results, and we're going to double down on those areas to maximize your return on that investment, the ROI. So when we break through this accelerated growth model, like I told you, there's three main components, especially with our organization. Our agency focuses on driving leads, maximizing conversions, and optimizing results. And with each section, each one of these core principles, there's subsections that go into it. So, like I said, the organic SEO, the databases, the website reputation, all that. These is actually something that I really like to dive in depth into. So today we are just going to be focusing on paid search because there's so much information to really break through. This whole webinar series is going to be on paid search. Now, if you like this, please let me know. Send me a message, reach out to me, leave a little review or comment, because I am planning to do more webinars based on some of these other topics like your reputation, organic SEO, your return on investments. These are all topics that I can speak to at length. And I just want to make sure that if you want to know more about that or certain things are jumping at you, let me know and I'll make sure to cover those ones first. So that way, next time we do a webinar, it might be on the topic that you want to know more about. So, why paid search should be a part of your digital marketing strategy? The reason I think paid search is such an important component of your overall marketing strategy would be that it gives you the ability to start showing up quickly. When we do SEO, and as an SEO agency, we place a lot of emphasis on getting the website ranked by creating pages and creating content and building links and citations and authority to really get those pages ranked. So there is a small gestation period. There's a time frame that you're going to have to wait. And if we create a page today and we get it indexed tomorrow, and there's competition out there that already has those links and citations, it can take months or even longer than that. The great thing about paid search is that we can get Google Ads campaigns set up today. We could show up as often as possible wherever your customers are looking. And sorry about that. We can really make sure that the budget is set correctly and pick the right keywords. We can change the budget on our bid strategy, and with that, we can really start to show up immediately. Um, so when someone gets to Google, and that's the number one place that someone searches when they need any type of plumbing, HVAC, roofing, or any other home service, we want to come up organically. We want to come up on the map, and we'd like to have our directories listed. Let's say that you're on Yelp or Angie's List, Yellow Pages, and we want to make sure that those come up on LSA. We want to make sure we come up on the top of that. That's where the LSA is just focused directly on the top section, and then directly under that is Google Ads. So if you're not doing LSA, I'm sorry, LSA is the local service ads or the Google Guaranteed program. So whenever you have search results as roofing near me, you're going to get the Google Guarantee program, which is the local service ads. Beneath that, you'll actually get Google Ads, and then you'll start to get some of the just naturally organic companies that will pop up after that. So if you're not investing in paid ads, then you're not going to be showing up in some of the most prominent spots that your customers are looking. And while I'm not just saying you do paid search, I do think that there's a place for it in our strategy, in our marketing strategy, where we're just focused on coming up as many of those search results as possible. There's three key areas, and two of them are some of the paid search areas. So just keep that in mind of where you want to show up whenever your customers are looking. And then third point I want to go into is you want to show up for non-geo modified terms: plumber, plumbing, water heater, repair, roofing, and pest control. Any of those things are really just standard words. But some people will be typing in, like, let's say LA plumber or plumber near me or roofer near me. With these Google ads, we can make sure that we are laser targeting those people who typed in, roofer near me or plumber near me or HVAC services, air conditioning near me in our service area specifically. So I love the idea that we can show up for any kind of keywords that we not might not be able to like target on a national level based on the geography in which the person might be searching from. So um, kind of break that down a little more. So I think that the portion of typing in common terms are actually being bid against in Google's ad. And you could be spending hundreds of dollars for one keyword. But if you're able to switch it up and say, plumbers in Chicago, roofers in LA, and get specific, with geo-modified terms, you actually be saving a lot more money and having less competition to fight off of that. And then finally, this provides unlimited scalability. Um, I think the biggest paid search should be a part of your strategy. For unlimited scalability, this gives us an opportunity to, scale at a point where we have a knob that we can turn. And as we're growing and as we're scaling, we know we're going to get, like new trucks on the road. We know you're going to hire that technician. We can increase the budget, but we also have a knob that we can turn where there's enough search volume, there's enough opportunity that we can continue as long as we have the money to spend. And to turn that dial, it generates more leads and generates more sales. And this allows us to dig even deeper and allows this ultimate scalability. So I wanted to put together a model basically of what this looks like to me and how to optimize your page search strategy. And in my mind, there's really three key strategies for paid search. Um, A, paid search would be one. Uh, Second one we'd have would be paid socials like Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, TikTok ads. Third strategy would probably be uh, per lead and directories. Now, when we look at this, your paid search, this is definitely going to go into Google Ads. That's going to be one of those key portions that you're going to be able to leverage, which is some of your paid search. Another opportunity you would be able to see is your local service ads. And like I said, when you're paying for these things, they show up at the top of the page. The number one thing that people will see as soon as you type in, you know, plumbing services, air conditioner needed, um, heater near me, pest control services near me, um, local service ads. It's going to be at the top of that search. That's the number one thing your customer is going to see. Then you scroll down past that, and your customers are going to see your Google ads. And then past that, you'll actually see some your organic traffic, and that's why you want to make sure that you're ranking really, really well because you got two really strong areas that's grabbing conversion rates in your customers, and be able to rank a little bit higher actually will make a huge difference. Now, if you put all these things together, that's how you really dominate some of these digital marketing strategies. The third thing I want to go into is retargeting. Retargeting certain areas and certain customers will allow you to convert more people that you just haven't done in the past. Now, when we're looking at paid socials, we're going to look at Facebook. Facebook is one of the largest aspects of getting some type of advertisement on social media. That's one of the large places you'll be able to find the biggest ROI. YouTube is another section where when you get your social media set up and you have a paid section behind it, you can actually specifically target the customers you're looking for. And then finally, TikTok. TikTok is a platform that has been blowing up. I know it's for younger generations, but it would be you know a disadvantage if it has been discounted because the latest studies show that TikTok is growing in ad space so much so that it's going to overtake Facebook and YouTube within the next 2 to 3 years. So if you're not leveraging that, you're also going to be falling down on some of these paid socials. Now, when we look at paid leads and directories, we got Thumbtack, Local, we get Yelp, some Nextdoor, as well as Angie's List, Home Advisor, Yellow Pages, and all these other aspects. So, here's this foundation that I was really looking at. So, if we're looking at building our foundation, especially the organic foundation, it's basically the highest quality leads and the lowest cost per lead will basically come from our organic foundations and organic rankings. Local service ads in the Google Guarantee program, you need to have automation and retargeting set up. And so I know we talked about some of the some of the automation, but the retargeting is something that is just crucial. If I'm explained, retargeting is just pixeling everyone that comes to your website and serving them banner ads. So basically, they come to your website, they get a pixel. Next time they Google something, they're going to get a banner ad with your business there, showing, "Hey, we're here," and it puts it in the forefront of their mind. So if you're spending money on your SEO and you're spending money on some Google ads, then it'd be a real shame if you don't have some type of retargeting, you know, principle to really help those customers come back that haven't converted, in the past. Another thing you want to have set up is it's like I said, the automation aspect of that. If someone does start a chat, let's say on your website, or they're reaching out on your web form, or you get a call and they just don't have a live answer, um, that's when using automation to follow up via SMS, phone, email is really quick and effective. If you're not leveraging that kind of automation, you're really missing out on big portion of the conversion opportunities. And if you're spending that kind of money on other aspects of the foundation, then I think it makes sense that you're going to want to make sure that you're not letting other opportunities not be converted by missing out on just having basic automation. So that's a crucial thing to set up. One thing I also want to go into would be why most Google ad campaigns fail. Now, I think they fail to understand the Google Ads auction process. That's a big one. That process, there's a lot that goes on. I could do a whole nother webinar just on that process alone. But it really is also the complexity of different industries: plumbing, HVAC, roofing, pest services, home funeral services. There's a certain flow about it that if you don't understand how some of these home services work, you're really not going to be able to dive deeper into some of the deeper things. Like for plumbing, trenchless repairs. I think that's just a really big crucial project, and be able to work commercially. HVAC specifically, be able to work commercially in certain locations. That is really going to get you a little extra bang for your buck. So if you're dealing with someone who doesn't really understand how these terms come up on Google's auction process, then you're really going to be losing money. And this is, I think, where it comes from. Companies that I've worked with in the past that said, "Hey, I've tried doing some marketing before. I threw, a couple $1,000s there, and it just didn't pay off." That's what happens when you don't know what you're doing, or you're working with a company, or even, I've heard someone to say, "Hey, I let my nephew take a crack at my website and set all this up," and for the most part, it can be done, but just it's not going to be done well, and you're not going to get maximize your ROI, and you're not going to get the lowest cost for these things. So that's why a big reason, probably about 70% of the Google campaigns fail. I say another big 20% of that would probably be that they're only setting up one ad group for each service. So that's a big one. It drives me nuts. Ad groups is a great way to take emergency plumbing and break that down into specific sections. So when you're looking at plumbing, if you looked at plumbing in general, a lot of people will think, hey, you got emergency plumbing, drain cleaning, clogging toilets, trenchless repairs. That's all grouped in one aspect, and I think that's something that really is a shame, because you just can't encompass all that in one general broad term. When it's broken down into each service, and that service is created into an ad group, then you're specifically targeting the right areas with the right pages, and you're not gonna pull up the wrong term for the customer who's looking for a different term in that aspect. So that's another big one that we could jump into, and I think that people don't use specific text ads or landing pages for groups of keywords. I know keywords is such a huge part of organic foundations, and it's such a simple thing to look at what those keywords are. You know, keywords for, like I said, plumbers is plumbing, plumber. Um, I think drain cleaning, some dump, HVAC people, you have heating, air conditioning, air conditioner, AC, air conditioning, furnace. There's just a bunch of terms that come up, and these are the most popular terms. So I think if you look at the first 5 to 10 most popular terms and have those broken down into each individual pages. So if you look at your services and they're each broken down their own page, and then if you combine that with the local service area that you're working for. So example, if you have, like say, um, air conditioning. You have air conditioning, great. Everyone's looking for air conditioning. But if you say air conditioning in San Diego, boom, that's a different story. If you're saying AC air conditioning in San Diego, that's a secondary thing. And if you have an individual page as well as your service location added into that with unique content, then Google's algorithm is going to look at that and basically give you like it's almost like a plus one system for each page that you have set up properly with unique content. You get a plus one from Google. So all your service areas plus all these keywords, you say if you're doing 10 keywords and five service areas within your location, you can get about 50 different pages set up that Google's going to see and give you a plus 1 point for like almost every page. And that is really how you're going to turn this around and bump up not only your rankings but actually maximize your Google ads. So that's a really big one. I'd love to be able to go into that further, but we got to keep this moving along. And one of the biggest, the final things that people set up that makes Google ad campaigns fail would be that there's not a strong call to action on any of their landing pages. So you bring customers to your website, you get them to where you want them to see your services, and then there's nothing for them to do. You got to give them the next steps. You got to tell them, hey, this is what you got to do next. So if that's, hey, we're looking at some AC repair, please schedule us to learn more. Let's book this now. Let's reach out and try to create a strategy session and see what can be done for this, or some preventative maintenance. Let's kind of keep these things up in action. If you want your preventative maintenance set up today, please reach out to us, and we'd love to be able to show you what we have. So, or what we have to offer. So those are also strong call to actions on every page. How to set up and structure your pay-per-click marketing campaign for minimal cost per lead and the maximum ROI. So how to structure your PPC campaign. First off, conversion tracking is a must. You got to understand what customers are being converted, how, when, and why. That's just, you understand those things, the data that you're able to do with that is going to allow you to see what's working and what's not. As I mentioned before, your campaign must be broken into smaller ad groups. Having each service kind of broken down to an ad group will really change the way Google campaigns are moved out in the future. And then, like I said, you got to have a strong understanding of keyword match types. And another big one is forgetting about negative keywords. Negative keywords are, if you're looking to get someone out there for emergency plumbing near me, you want to have maybe a native keyword like plumbing supplies. That's great when I see that's not negatively set up on any really home services. Is just there's usually a supply aspect behind every home service, and so plumbing supply companies are out there. Plumbing supply parts. Those are negative keywords that you don't want those to be targeted. And these are pay-per-click campaigns. So if you're throwing something that's a word that's not necessarily used for what you want to be targeting for, then you're going to be penalized by people clicking on it when it doesn't lead them to the right area. And then you need to be writing compelling text ads that resonate with the customer type. And you want to entice them to click on it. You got to stand out from the competition. So as I was mentioning with the Google Pages, how each content must be unique. It's the same when you're writing to your customers. You want to make sure that the ad, the text ad that you're using is actually going to entice them to want to learn more. It's not going to be a standard, hey, I just saw this, on the Google sponsors, and I'm just going to copy paste mine. Because then, Google algorithm knows like, hey, I see the exact same wording on the similar sponsored ad in the same location. That's going to get penalized and you're not going to show up the way you want to. And again, you're not going to maximize that ROI. So being able to leverage these ads allows you to help reduce your cost while at the same time maximizing your return on your investment. So this is another quote that we throw up here is you don't even want to think about spending another penny until you have conversion tracking in place. And why? It's because it's that important. Spending money without tracking where the dollars are being spent and what the return on that is coming from, it's just ludicrous. I can't understand that in my mind. You want to know exactly what every dollar being accounted for, and if you're speaking to a marketing agency, that's exactly what you should be asking is you should be able to say, where exactly is each dollar going to? And what is the return on investment from that dollar? So some of the conversion tracking essentials is dynamic number swapping with different phone numbers for PPC traffic or organic direct traffic. Um, so having a dedicated line specifically for one of your key services, primarily your most profitable, can be very beneficial versus if you just had your standard line coming in for everything. Um, so being able to understand where those calls are coming in from and what's driving that aspect behind it, you're going to get a lot of beneficial information from that. You're going to need a keyword pool with dynamic number swapping so that we can track phone calls back to keyword and campaign. So this is exactly what I was just mentioning, that you want to be able to track this information back to exactly what the initial catalyst was that made them reach out, what specific keyword or which exact campaign is doing really well. And then you can work with some A/B testing and focus on that campaign that's doing really well. And A/B testing allows you to do something very similar, but just slightly changed to see if that gives you better results or worse results. And then you're also going to need web form tracking, be able to track your organic, website and figuring out how customers are actually getting to your website, what's the information that they're they're asking for, and how long that time is taking for them to be converting to an actual customer can really change the way you look at your cost per lead. And then finally, some conversion tracking built into your AdWords campaign to determine which AdWords generate the leads. So um, again, I think this is when you're looking at your AdWord campaigns, breaking it down into specific ad groups for each of your services allows you to pinpoint exactly what is your most profitable service, how to maximize, you know, the way to get that out there, and how it comes off to your customers in the form of your ROI. So now we're going to look at some of the most important KPIs here. Uh, One, we're going to look at the total spend, the amount of money that you've spent, every dollar being accounted for, the average cost per click, and this is one that you'll really want to keep in mind because cost per click meaning that anytime someone literally physically clicks either on their phone or on the mouse, you're going to be charged. And then looking at your average cost per lead, and this is goes into calls and web form. So if you're looking at like plumbing, HVAC, or any type of home service company, with plumbing companies, you're going to look at anywhere between $50 to $90 for your cost per lead. Water heater is somewhere between 50 and 100. The HVAC services, you're going to be anywhere from 90 to $175. Now, when you're looking at the lower numbers here, so 55, 50, 90, this is for somewhere it's not necessarily one of the big major cities or somewhere that's gonna like have a lot of generating results. Uh, The higher cost that you see, the 90, the 150, the 175, this is something that you're going to see in some of these larger cities where you have larger competition. And so being able to reduce your cost per lead in these environments while also maximizing your ROI is I said, it's an art form. So someone has to really understand this process and how that really reflects back on your ROI, which is your return on your investment. Now, how to actually structure your PPC campaign. Your campaign must be broken into smaller groups, like I've mentioned. I hope that's one thing you take away from this is that the smaller ad groups for each of your services, that is really going to be a crucial factor here. And the text ads that match, what people are typing in to find you. So when you're looking at some of the brand campaigns, like say general plumbing, draining, hydro services, you're looking at water heater. You got water heater repair, water heater replacement, tankless water heaters, sewage repairs and replacements. You got trenchless and repiping, and then you're looking at your urgent calls, emergency plumbing, after hours plumbing, gas line installation and repair, commercial services and maintenance. These are all crucial aspects where if these are structured properly, then it's going to allow you to not only bring in and convert those leads, but to reduce costs at the same time as maximizing your ROI. And like I said, that's what it's all about. That's how you make the most money. That's why companies who are doing this correctly are not only making, double the amount they're putting in their ROI, but you get back, as high as 5 to 10 times your ROI, which is it's ridiculous. If I put money in and I'll get 10 times that money back, um, 9 times out of 10, I'm taking that offer up without even having to look at it. So, yeah, the numbers behind this just don't lie. You can look at Google's algorithm, you can look at other marketing agencies, you can look at some of the data that's been provided by Deloitte. You'll find that the ROI increases based on the knowledge, and so I think that's something that really comes through in some of these presentations here. So as I was bringing that up, that's a segue into questions that you want to ask, your PPC provider or any kind of marketing or advertising agency that you might be talking to, that you're currently working with, or that you might be interested in knowing, or us. This is something that we provide all this information as digital marketing wizards. So um, these are definitely some things you want to ask your provider if you're thinking about hiring a company to do this for you, or which I'd recommend really consuming this really difficult topic, yourself can take a lot of time, and that's why some people end up hiring some of these dedicated full-time directors of marketing that sometimes don't understand this information as well, where even some of these directors of marketing reach out to us to kind of fill in some of these gaps because at the end of the day, they're still doing their job. They're reaching out to us to make sure marketing's done right. And that's what we do. We get the marketing done right and we increase the ROI by anywhere from two times to all the way to 10 times. So, and it also takes a lot of energy and time. Someone who really understands this, someone who has the time to really optimize this process, um, generally doesn't stick around long enough to be the director of marketing because it's a rare occurrence of someone is that knowledgeable and it's kind of settling in for a smaller position as opposed to taking their skills and really running with it. Where you get to some of these larger enterprise companies, like like the ones that are out there. So, anywho, we want to, like I said, make sure anything you want to ask your PPC provider is just how much of my budget is going to Google Ads. Being able to track every dollar that's being spent is going to be crucial. What type of tracking are you going to put in place? Are the Google Ads going to be used or any type of web form conversion tracking? How are we tracking our key performance indicators? Do you have a live dashboard, an average cost per lead? And that's another thing. In our strategy sessions, we like to show you our dashboard and we like to show you an example of customers that have worked with us and how we've broken their average cost per lead down over the course of the time that they are with us. Um, Next will you be sending any visitors to a very specific landing page for each ad group, or will traffic be directed directly at the homepage. That is probably one of the best questions that shows that you're knowledgeable about what someone else is doing to help you convert, your customers. So if you go to your PPC provider and you ask them that, you're going to see some raised eyebrows like, wow, this person really understands, some of this process. I better make sure that I understand this as well. And if they kind of give you some of that glazed eyes or kind of give you some of that generic, just terms to get you off their back, you'll know that this isn't the right PPC provider for you. Uh, Another thing that we want to go into would be, do you split test ads for each group? Now, this is what I was bringing up not too long ago, the A/B testing. This allows you to use an ad that is doing really well, change it slightly to see if it does even better or if it does worse. Um, so you definitely want to make sure that any provider that you're working with is doing some of these things. And then will you be leveraging any ad extensions? What are some of the targets versus average cost per leads and projected ROI? Oh, okay. So, yeah, we got to the end of it. I'd love to see if anyone has any questions. Feel free to reach out to me directly, go to the website, or even just add some here in the comments. I'd love to be able to hear back from you. I'm very feedback driven, so please let's get it in there. Something that we can offer towards the end here is our free ranking report and our SEO reviews. And this is very beneficial because A, it gives you an analysis of your online visibility. We also provide a custom keyword list of some of the most important search terms in your industry. We also do a ranking report, which shows where you rank currently in Google Ads and Bing and Yelp, and how that ranks against your competition. And what your competition is doing that actually makes them rank a little bit higher. Analysis of online directory listings and consistency. So this is basically we're going to look through the entire internet and see where you're showing up and where you're not, and if the information is correct. I mentioned that NAP theory earlier on in this webinar, the name, address, and phone number. And if those aren't correct everywhere, so I gave the example is if you had a business and you moved from one city to another and you forgot to change that information somewhere, let's say on a Facebook page or on a Yelp page, or you might have signed up a service for Yellow Pages not too long ago and then forgotten all about that. If that's not, set up properly, then you're actually going to be deemed points, and we will be able to see that immediately. We can, tell you exactly which area, or what website it has the incorrect information, what the incorrect information looks like, and how to fix it. Or, with basically the way we have it set up is we have software where just a click of a button, all errors are fixed immediately. And then we'll give you an analysis of online reviews and reputation. Like I said, if you have reviews, they're great. We'll look at them. If you have some bad reviews, we look at those. Or if there are not enough reviews, we have strategies in place to set that up to get more reviews whenever you're doing your next jobs. And then we'll give you analysis of your social presence, what social medias look like, how you're doing well on social media, and how that looks to your customers, as well as the website conversion effectiveness. How easy it for someone to come to your website and immediately be like, you know what, I want to book these services. So if you want to learn more about this, you want to get this free ranking report and kind of just dig deeper into this, being knowledgeable, gathering as much data as you can. Knowledge is power. So knowing this information will give you a lot of active and actionable feedback that you can take home with you, make some changes, and immediately see an impact on that. So if you would like to learn more about that, please reach out to us. That's digitalmarketingwizard.com/contact, and you can book a strategy session with us. You could open up um, just a line of communication, and we'll be happy to reach out. So, like I said, let's talk. This was our page search webinar. I'd love to be able to dive in deeper, but it's like I said, this is where we help you find customers, and it's wherever they're searching at. So, if you want to reach out to us, you want to talk to us, you want to learn a little bit more, you might be interested in some of these paid advertisements, Google ads, the local service ads, the Google Guarantee program, or just getting a free report on that, feel free to reach out to us. Book a strategy session, reach out digitalmarketing.com/contact, or even give us a call, area code 510-274-1470. Thank you. I thank you for taking the time out of your day for, watching this, looking at some of these beneficial concepts that we have in place and some of our core ideas, and being able to absorb some of that information, or if not, reaching out to us and learning a little bit more about it. Okay. Thank you very much. You have a very nice day.